It's the SeizeYourBusiness.com podcast with Tony Rourke and Kevin O'Flaherty.
SeizeYourBusiness.com, making you money. Share it on Facebook, share it on LinkedIn, Twitter, our blogs, YouTube videos. Listen to our podcast, getting so hot that it's burning up the stereo.
Welcome to the SeizeYourBusiness.com podcast, coming to you from our speakeasy in lovely downtown Downers Grove, Illinois. Our guest today is Kristin Skelton from Floofins Company. I like that, Flufins. Our hosts are Kevin O'Flaherty from O'Flaherty Law and myself, Tony Rourke from ADR Business Resource Group. If you find the podcast helpful or if you just want to help us out, we'd appreciate it if you would review us on iTunes or share our podcast on social media. So without further ado, I'll hand it over to Kevin.
Thanks, Tony. So before we dig into talking to Kristin, we have a little bit of an announcement. Tony is going to be moving to South Carolina like a jerk, and
wow,
this is going to be his.
Good or bad?
This is going to be the last episode that we do in person together. But Tony, why don't you talk a little bit about what your plans are and our plan going forward for this?
Well, my plan is sometime after, because you asked me to stay for the launch party.
Mm-hmm. May 19th, tell your friends.
Which will be May 19th. I will have my pod dropped off on the 20th. And somewhere between the 20th and the 28th, I will be hitting the road to Summerville, South Carolina, which is 20 miles west of Charleston, South Carolina. And the reason I'm going home is because I've always wanted to go home. Moved here in 84.
Mm-hmm.
And after raising two kids, it's just time to go.
So the episode we just did with Laura Crawford from the Downers Grove Chamber didn't change your mind about Downers Grove?
No. I love Downers Grove, but,
there's snow.
See, she gets it. There's that, and
there's snow.
There's a lack of beach.
And a lack of beach,
And
yes.
we cannot call that thing, that big body of water.
Lake Michigan, you're talking about?
You can see the other side. It's not.
And
can't see the other
Oak
side.
Street Beach, it's a nice little beach. It's a little itty bitty beach.
So anyway, our plan going forward is to kind of do two podcasts and have them kind of marry each other on certain episodes. So Tony's going to get established in South Carolina, get himself probably a radio partner to work with down there, and we'll do keep doing our podcast up here. Scott Mathis, who's guest hosted a couple times, is going to be taking over Tony's duties permanently. And the hope and the plan is that we're going to do a lot of crossover episodes where, you're going to talk to business owners in South Carolina and the people that you meet down there. And then every couple episodes, you and your radio partner and me and Scott will all get together. We're figuring out the technology behind that and just talking in an episodic way about business on a topic. So
I can't wait. I think it's going to be fun.
Yeah, I think it's going to really expand what we're doing, and I'm excited to do it. So I'll miss sitting next to you all the time, but
and I'll miss you too.
Everyone will be hearing a lot from Tony, and we'll have twice as much content to put out. So that'll be fun.
I'll just be down for a couple of months.
Yeah. All. So good luck in South Carolina. I hope it's horrible and that you move back.
Yeah, right. It's going to be in the 90s next week. I don't think so.
So this.
Yeah.
She agrees.
My dog walkers are not liking this cold snap, I can tell you.
So aside from Tony, this being Tony's last episode, this is going to be a little different for another reason. Kristin Skelton, who's joining us today, has a really interesting story. And rather than having a topic, we're just going to talk about how she went from working a job that has nothing to do with the business that she's in now to now having 20 employees working under her in a space of what's it been, 4 years now?
Just about 5. Recently 5. So
and
my longest job, actually. Yeah.
And we've talked about job security and the illusion of job security, but your business is going to be your last job probably.
Probably. Yeah.
Kristin and I go way back. The intro music for our podcast actually was from a band that Kristin's husband and I were in together.
Oh, really?
A long time ago.
Huh?
Oh,
yeah.
that's cool.
And I picked up guitar when I was in high school to try to get girls interested in me, and my wife's not completely unimpressed, but apparently Chris impressed Kristin with his, I don't know, you started coming to our shows and met Chris, and it was a match made in heaven. But Chris was a friend of mine from college, so, and Kristin was also one of my first clients.
Yep.
So been together a long time, and it's been fun watching your business grow, because we both started around the same place, and you've just had tremendous success, and that's what we're going to talk about today, just kind of how you got from, being a graphic designer, or I don't know if that's the right term for what you were, but
yeah, it was that, and then into architectural marketing, and now this. So yeah, it was kind of a drastic switch.
Yeah,
to say.
So yeah, tell us a little bit about your past, and how you got where you are.
Well, I started off in college, and I was actually a dance and journalism major. So my dad told me that I could major in dance if I could also major in something that would make me money. So I majored in journalism. My first job out of college was in graphic design and editing for a nonprofit. I did medical journal editing, actually. So that was, not quite as glamorous as you would think, journalism would be, but I learned to spell a lot of bacterial names and all of that. And from there, I went from being more graphic design in that respect, and I decided to go back to business school. So I was very fortunate. My father had saved up money, so I had no bills when I graduated with my bachelor's, and paid cash, and took about 5 years to get through my MBA. So a couple classes at a time, worked my way through that, and eventually went into marketing for civil engineering. Now, that's not very sexy, trying to sell sewers, but road work kind of stuff. But
who do you market to in civil engineering? Is it municipalities or what?
Municipalities, proposal writing. So I was definitely. Have you ever seen Parks and Recreation? Yeah. I was one of those people, sitting at the meetings and meeting with the parks people, and that kind of stuff. So wrote some very trying to make traffic counting sexy kind of proposals. So I did that. I jumped into architecture. So I worked really in the architecture, construction, engineering industry. So I learned a lot about building. I was always interested in architecture, so I thought this was going to be my life. I was going to market architecture. So I became a certified professional services marketer. I was taking my MBA classes. Everything was on track. Then I got dogs. Yeah. I got married, got my two Maltese, Priscilla and Portia, and I traveled quite a bit for work. So I would board them at very, very posh dog hotels, and everything was cool. And my dogs didn't board well, we'll put it that way. They were very stressed in the kennel environment. They were great, very nice kennels. It was just for those two girls, it wasn't really working so well. So a friend of mine in architecture turned me on to the pet sitting world. She said, "Hey, there's a girl that comes over to my house and she takes care of my house and my dogs. You should hire her." I said, "Okay, wonderful." So I had several pet sitters. I had some good pet sitters. I had some not so good pet sitters. My not so good pet sitters would leave messes in my house and not take care of dogs when they're having possible medical issues. I was a little bit nuts. I had cameras on my dog, so I could check in with them. I had some that wouldn't show up for the morning visit, and I would catch them on camera doing that. And I had really good ones. So I thought, well, this is cool. I'd really like to have good ones, but when it comes down to, they were mostly individuals. It was, hiring somebody on a contract basis that, somebody referred. And I thought, well, I don't have anybody to call and complain if there's something wrong or get it fixed, So I thought, well, this would be an interesting business. Yeah. So my husband and I were joking, or, he's like, "You should start a pet sitting company." I was like, "Oh yeah." And
I remember when you first told me you were thinking about doing that. I to be honest with you, I'm like, "Oh, that's cute."
That's cute. Yeah, exactly. That's really cute. And honestly, my first accountant thought that was real cute until he started, like, "Oh, you have employees, at some point." But yeah, so yeah, it's cute, right? So
it's not cute anymore. Now you
you remember what I was telling you, the differences between us?
Yeah.
That's one of those differences.
Okay.
He would say, "Oh, that was cute," and I was like, "Oh, wow, that's cool. How's that?"
That's a cool business,
that's just
right?
how we operate, and I love it. But that is cool.
And it's definitely not architectural marketing. So, I we thought about it, and I toyed around with it. Now, my father, I mean, my mom always says I'm my father's daughter. You know, my father was he wanted to own his own accounting firm. He didn't want a boss, you know, so he did his thing. And she always said, you're kind of tenacious like him, so it doesn't surprise me you did this. You know, but I had the family support. I mean, my husband was working full-time. I was working full-time. He said, well, why don't you research this? So I spent about 2 years right at the end of my MBA thinking, could this be a business, you know? So I researched it. I found there was a National Pet Sitting Association. I went to their conference. And I said I was going on vacation. I spent a week in Orlando learning about the pet sitting business and found that there were some very successful pet sitting business owners out there. And I thought this could be really cool. So 2 years later, I started doing shelter volunteer work because, you know, it was a dream, but I didn't have a vet background and I didn't have a lot of background in different animal care. So I started really researching that, doing some shelter volunteer work and trying to get some hands-on experience. So couple years later, my husband said, well, why don't you launch this thing? So, you know, we pulled the business plan together. We had a website, and it was April of 2010 that we launched it. And I was just about having a heart attack. My husband's like, you're going to quit your job this day. And I'm going to tell my boss, who I work full-time for, full benefits, and I'm his director of marketing, I'm going to tell him I'm starting a pet sitting company. Yes. Okay. All right. So, the week I was going to quit, I was definitely getting ready to cop out. I'm like, do you really want to do this? We're going to cut our income in half. I mean, this is going to be rough. And he's like, nope, do it. So
did you have a business plan in place at this point?
I did have a business plan in place. I soft launched my website. I was actually turning down business 2 weeks prior to quitting my full-time job.
Talk about a proof of concept.
Right?
Yeah, we discussed this in our last episode with Adam Glassberg. Plan it out, you know.
Plan it out.
And it looks like you took the time to learn about it.
It was a 2-year plan in the making. Yeah. I mean, I talked to my professors about it in school, and they're like, you should do this. It's going to take you some time to build it up, but do it. Now, the funny part is the day that I was going to quit, well, the day before, I was going to quit on a Friday. And I sat next to it was a small architecture company, and I sat next to my boss, and he informed me that he was going to actually jump ship Friday and go to Mexico for vacation. I had no idea he had this vacation plan. So he's like, can we push our meeting to today? And I'm thinking, oh God, like I'm not ready, right? And I said, okay, yeah. So I had this meeting planned at 3:00. Now that afternoon, he's talking to me about his turtle. He's like, oh my God, my turtle. I forgot my turtle. And I was like, what's wrong? And he said, I'm going to Mexico for a week. My son's turtle's going to die. And I said, oh, and I lived about a block from my boss, and I said, why don't you give me your key? I will go feed your son's turtle once a day and check in on your house. He's like, oh my God, it'd be so good if there was a service that did that. I was like, okay, God is trying to strike me with thunder. And then I proceeded to tell them that I was starting this dream company that I had been thinking about for 2 years, and I was going to do it. So that was that. I put my 2 weeks in. So May 1st of 2010, we soft launched April 1st, 2010, April Fool's Day. I don't know why. And then May 1st, I was technically unemployed waiting for phone calls. Yeah. So
what did that feel like?
Well, when your income goes away and you're sitting on your couch just praying that somebody's going to call you to start doing dog walking services, it's kind of funny. But let me see, it was May 30th, I had a full dog walk route. I hired end of June, my first 3 people.
Nice.
Yeah. There was definitely a demand for it. You know, people were starting to hear about the home care. They liked, you know, I had things set up professionally. I had a clean brand, you know, with all my business background. So we got the phone calls and we started building up the clientele. The word of mouth stuff started. And yeah, I mean, and I always knew I wanted to hire. I always dreamed of having a team of people. I didn't want to be a one-woman show. I wanted it to be, you know, a group of, you know, really nice people that are managed and we know where they are and, you know, they're trained in a similar manner and have what it takes to take care of animals. Because, you know, it's one of those businesses where, you know, it's a cute thing a teenager should do in some people's minds and other people want a professional solution. So it's bridging that gap right now because some people will see certain price points and say, are you kidding me? A kid could do that for $5. And I'm like, well, wait till your house floods, you know, or wait till a pipe burst or something serious happens where you're going to need the, you know, mentality of an adult. So
well, the difference between the cute business that a kid could set up, and what you're doing is that you've got an MBA and you were very intentional about this.
It was very intentional.
Yes. And to have the website was it the website that was giving you your first business?
It's mostly the website was the driver of probably the first 3 years of business, to be honest. It was just having
and how long
looking organized and answering the phone, to be honest. We're like, wow, you answered the phone. I said, oh yeah. Floofins Co. What can I do for you? Oh my gosh, you answered the phone.
So what did your first initial systems, those first couple of weeks when you were just by yourself before you had your employees? Yeah. What you had your website set up, you had your phone line. What else did you have set up to work with?
Website, phone line. I had 5 years ago there weren't a lot of systems for pet sitters, so we had a very basic software system to track our visits. We had our billing in there, our schedule in there, and it was me. And I built up a route. I had about 8 dogs that I did every afternoon. July 4th, the first year was rough. I think I pet sat 6 a.m. to 11 o'clock that night. I didn't stop. I think I ate once. It was pretty nuts. Yeah.
That's what launching a business can be.
That's
like.
what happened. Yeah. So it was.
But how soon was it that you got employees? Did you say 2 weeks or did I miss you?
30 days.
30 days.
I worked by myself for May, and then I knew I was going to need help come June. So I started trying to hire in June. So I think by June 30th is when I had my first 3 people.
Okay.
Spread out.
And you went from 0 to 3 right away, or?
I went from 0 to 3 because I attacked a pretty big area, which looking back, I still would have done it.
What area was that?
I went from Elmhurst all the way to Winfield.
Ooh.
Yeah. So I had some clients in Bolingbrook, and then I was driving to Elmhurst, and I was covering a 20-mile radius, which was not my game plan for one woman. So we definitely spread it out by area. A big thing with home care is the travel. Yeah. So we had different people in different areas.
Again, here comes one of those differences.
Uh-huh.
And I love the business stuff, but really, Flufins. Can you tell us a story of a Flufin? What is a Flufin?
I need my pictures of my girls. I have 2 Maltese.
They're little white fuzz balls that are about as big as your fist.
They're about 8 pounds, 16 pounds together wet. I have 2 female sibling litter mate.
Oh, okay.
Maltese, and that was one of those. We're gonna get a dog, and we got 2. So when we were trying to figure out the business name, it could be, home pet care. There's a lot of, Kristin's pet sitting. I knew I didn't want that, so my husband was joking. We used to call, the dogs, we call them girls, or we'd call them puppies, or, he'd call them the poops. And one day he made up a word. He's like, hey, Floofins, because they're fluffy. He thought it was funny. They've always been the Floofins. So we were just, what should we name this thing? I was like unleashed, I had all kinds of crazy stuff. And my husband's like, how about something with Floofins? I was like, that's funny. I'm like, Floofins Co. And he was like, yeah, it just, I love it. And it was really funny because when I came up with Floofins, I had no business yet. I had business cards with my logo, and I went to the first SNAPS conference, and a very dear friend of mine, Jennifer, she was on the board of directors, and she's trying to get to know me, and I'm new to this organization. She's like, oh, what is your business open? I said, we haven't launched yet, but I'm trying to get all the last knowledge I can out of you guys. And she's like, Floofins. Have you thought about something more like, Sweet Home Pet Care, or, something more that it's obvious, because this makes no sense. And I said, well, yeah, I know it doesn't, but people are going to ask me what it is. And she's like, okay, and she did not buy it. And then a year later, I ran into her at the next conference, and she's like, how's Floofins doing? And I said, really well. And she said, yeah, I saw, because we had a booth set up at one of these pet events, and people would just see our logo and be like, what do you do? What's Floofins? So it worked in our advantage that way, especially in kind of a budding industry, because there's not, a lot of larger pet sitting companies. So it was funny. And she's like, I got to be honest with you, I thought that was the stupidest name ever. She's like, but I couldn't forget it. It would not go out of my head. It was so unique. So that worked for us. So from a marketing perspective.
So you've got these 3 employees now. Are they paid based on the number of walks they do? Paid based on production, basically?
Yeah, pretty much based on visits. So how many visits a day they perform, and the complexity of the visits. So the more pets, the higher the pay, because it's definitely a harder job. So it's kind of based on frequency and how far, how complex the job is.
Craziest pets.
The
wildest pet.
Like as far as exotic or
however you define the craziest pet story.
I mean, we've got our crazy jumpy puppies, we've got our fighting kitties, we've got our sweet kitties, but I mean, I love ferrets. I have a blast with ferrets,
You okay
man.
there, Kevin?
No, go on, please. Almost drinking a beer over here, almost spat it up.
We almost got a shower.
You might be the only person that loves ferrets, but go on.
No, I've got a client, and she does ferret rescue. So anytime we come to her house, there's usually, she works with ferret rescue, and there's usually anywhere between 6 and 8 ferrets. And she'll put pictures on her wall. They're so cute. She's got their name, and this is the new one, and we'll get to know all the ferrets. But our job is basically come over, close the ferret room. Obviously, we have to get all the cracks covered because they're slippery little buggers. Let them out to play.
That would be fun.
And it's really fun. I mean, it's like 7 ferrets. I will say wear skinny jeans. They will climb up your pants. They're hilarious. They fight. They run around. They want to play with you. I'll give them like treats. They'll sit for treats. I mean, they're so cute.
But then you've got to like wrangle them, right, and put them back in the cage.
They usually fall asleep in about half an hour, get real slow, and then I'll put them back in the cage, and I have to count them all and make sure they're okay and
Side
their
note,
litter.
if I was not leaving, you and I would be joining her for Ferret Day.
Ferret sitting shadow, yes.
Absolutely.
False.
Oh my gosh.
So
They're fun. I mean, it was one of those pets I hadn't had a ton of experience with, and that client I was like, these guys are so fun. I mean, it's a fun job,
Oh my goodness, it has to be.
It's fun.
Now these employees, and I should know because I think I drafted the agreement. Were these independent contractors?
Employees. Okay.
Yeah.
Yep. We did employees. It's mainly because I'm a control freak and I want to know where everybody is. And we have a 500-page manual. There's certain protocol we want them to do. There's certain education we want them to have. 101 ferrets, 101 dog. So we're looking for a certain caliber of individual, and they need to know how to take care of. Interview question: how do you turn off a broken pipe? Oh, it's like water shutoff valve. Okay, we need to know that. Things happen.
You've been one of the most prepared clients that I've ever dealt with. Kristin has always done her own independent research and had the employee handbook ready to go. Just review the legalese. Here's the issues that I'm worried about, and I appreciate you sticking with me for 4 years because you're the client that everything has gone wrong.
Really? No.
It hasn't been horrible. I haven't committed major malpractice, but there's this always happens. There's 95% of my clients smooth as hell.
Right.
There's the 5% where all the things that are going to go wrong to the same 5 people, and So thank you. Thank you for still being my friend and being patient with me.
You got to learn all of that animal welfare law too. So
I've been very impressed by your ounce of preparation versus a pound of perspiration or whatever that saying is, and I think that helped you both in planning to launch your business, and I'm sure that as you've grown, you've continued to plan that way.
No, that's a lot of the reasons why initially when we opened, I knew I had to find a better software solution because I always dreamed I'd have a staff of 20. And I thought, well, this is cute. I have 3 people. They text me every day. I know what's going on. And then you get more people and it's much harder to keep track of them.
So tell me about that transition from, 3 to 20 employees and the phases of growth that you've had and how you dealt with it.
Well, and even just the sourcing of employees changed dramatically. You start looking for pet sitters. It's a unique job. You've got, can be considered, it's a dog walk. It's not high paying, highfalutin pay, and it's supplemental income. And half the time you're looking for the next great dog walker to take the new dog walk. So you're not saying, hey, I have a route of 8 dogs for you. You're going to be busy from 10 to 4. You're not. I'm going to have a dog for you when I get a dog for you. But I want you to learn all this stuff and I want you to be prepared for this and keep your schedule open. It's a very rare individual that actually fits that criterion. Sure. So that's always challenging. And being the home care thing, I'm giving my clients keys to an employee, which is a big deal.
Yeah, that's scary.
It's not, I don't have, bells
and whistles going up.
Bells and whistles, right? It's just woo, so it's a huge undertaking. I mean, we spend a lot of money up front on the recruitment process. I mean, I've had people drop out because our recruitment process has gone from, figuring out who these people are, where to find them to, I mean, it's an 11-page application they fill out. Okay, they've got that done. They get a phone screen for basic. Do you have the basic stuff we're looking for? Yes or no? Okay, then they take a written evaluation. I want to see the risk for, are you a thief? Do you understand customer service? Do you understand the longevity of work with customer service? Are you likely to use drugs at work? Are you not? That's huge. And, I network with a lot of maid services, that kind of home security issue. Mm-hmm. So, they pass that test. They go to an in-person interview. They meet with me. I mean, they're all sweet and, pie with me. I own the company. And then they meet with one of my, more junior managers, and they go out on a dog walk. And you say you can handle a dog, show me. I mean, some people get to the interview and they're like, this is ridiculous. This is a dog walking job. And I'm like, I'm giving you clients' house keys. If you don't want to hang with it, cut your losses now. So,
have you had trouble finding enough good applicants that you could run through that process to get enough people at the end, or have there been plenty of?
It's just, as long as you keep it, as you're constantly recruiting. I think we're always advertising monthly. Mm-hmm. We're always looking for people. A lot of our good people come from internal referrals, from our existing employees, or just, I know this person, I think they'd be a good fit, because it's their butt on the line, sure, when it comes to that. So
it's what Chuck Zimmerman said. The best place to find employees is internal referrals.
Gosh,
internal
if my daughter could, and she can't, she just can't with her load. School and what she has to do, she just can't, but she would love this.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun for the right candidate, and we've had people with us 3-4 years. I mean, it's just some people the job works really well. We find there's about a 14 to 16 month turnover for the average bear, and then for somebody it really works for, we have them for years, and they learn how to make it work for them. So
14-month turnover isn't actually all that bad,
I know,
especially
true.
for that type of job. That's really good. I'd take that for almost any employee.
Right?
I know. And then, like I was telling you earlier, the ones that cry when you pick up their, it's their last day, and you're picking up their supplies and their keys, and they're just like, I'm going to miss these dogs and cats. They're really upset, and I'm like, well, you've got a really good job, like, you're moving on. That's okay. And, they're just like, oh, but I'm going to, they're just really, they develop really strong relationships. So a lot of times the quitting is difficult. It's a very personal business. So,
well, you're basically adopting somebody's baby and taking care of their baby.
You're kind of like a nanny for many families.
Absolutely.
I
can
once.
See that.
So it's.
Do you have any rough dogs or just, mean dogs?
Mean dogs. We have to screen, obviously, from a risk management perspective. We have to screen. I got a good three holes in my hand here from an interview that didn't work out. I mean, we screen them for certain levels of behavior. We're looking for a dog that's a good candidate, or a cat that will allow us to come in the house and care for them. So there's certain times where there's certain situations where the dog or cat or animal is not ready for that. So we have a whole slew of referrals for trainers and stuff that can, help them get to that point, or some type, alternative that might work for them. Because some dogs and cats will not let you in the house. And it's just, it's more stressful than it needs to be. So, but it's a rare occasion. Most of our dogs are wiggle butts at the door.
Sure.
You have a leash? Okay. They're sweet.
I like how you just want to hear dog stories. That differences between me and you.
This is a business podcast.
I had the business stuff. Now I want to have a little bit of fun. Because I think it's a fun business.
Yeah, it is. It's a cool business.
I think it's probably inspiring to a lot of people to see how business can be fun. See, there's a weird way in my ways, Kevin.
It can be fun. And I think we do try to separate that. My pet care specialist, really, I want them to have fun. I don't want them worrying about billing. I don't want them worrying about scheduling. I want them to get their schedule, have fun, and write their notes, and then they can go on with their day, and not be concerned about that somebody didn't pay their invoice, or, somebody's trying to arrange a schedule or arrange a fill-in, So we have our people that are focused on the business stuff and making sure it runs smoothly. And then our pet care specialists are out there having a blast with the animals, and, they love it. They don't have to worry about all the other stuff, that goes along with that.
And I imagine you take care of a lot of that stuff. Do you ever get out to play
I
yourself?
do.
Yeah.
You know, obviously I've been more grounded in the office
Sure.
than my first years. But you know, I mean, I'm not too good to walk a dog. I'm a small business owner, you know, so it's somebody's sick. Oh, I get to walk dogs today. You know, it's
Yeah.
cool. It's a lot of fun. You know, I definitely still do like to get out there. My full-time manager right now, we just recently converted her to full-time office, and that was hard for her. You know, she had this crop of about 4 dogs that she walked, I think, for almost 4 years, and she, you know, she was a backup dog walker. She went to full dog walker. She started helping me in the office. She did part-time in the office, and now she's worked her way to like a full-on, you know, salaried position. But, you know, she's got those dogs she's had for 4 years. That was
Sure.
hard to be like, I'm going to give you to this person. You know, it's like,
Tell me about like the first time you started hiring a manager as opposed to just doing all the first time you had to delegate the management duties. What was that like?
That's hard, especially when it's your baby, you know. I think the saving grace was I've always promoted from within. So I've always had the luxury of Michelle was my first manager. I love her to pieces. I miss her, but you know, she was a pet sitter for me, and she was just really good at her job, and she always really liked the business, and she was like, this is really interesting. I'd like to see how it grows, and she helped me with backup when I, you know, so I could actually leave town. I mean, there was years I couldn't leave town. You know, and I've had the, you know, I've been really blessed with really great team members, and certain ones that just, you know, I don't want to say rock stars because they're all rock stars, but you know, ones that really start piquing an interest in the business side, and
Sure.
I want to do more, and okay, you want to do more, I can certainly give you some stuff to do that'll help, you know, help take the daily stuff off of me. And some of them just rise to the occasion, and it's great because I've known them as a dog walker for, you know, a year sometimes beforehand. So
Was it a gradual process creating the management role, or was it, okay, I'm going to take all these duties and now you're going to do them, or as opposed to you're going to still walk dogs most of the time, and part of the time you're going to start taking over these duties?
You know, I started off with, you know, this is the job description I want from you. And I realized very shortly into that I needed to develop a role for their interests. You know, my existing manager is amazing at social media, and she loves doing it, and it's fun for her. And I'm like, why? You know, I love marketing, but I'm not going to hang on to that when she's so good at it. You know, so there's certain things I need her to do, like scheduling and, you know, the day to day. But there's certain things when they pique an interest in it, I'll say, you want to take over the social media? Okay, you know, and it kind of gives them that extra fun thing they can do in their job. But it's been a lot of, you know, wash, rinse, repeat with the manager stuff. I mean, I thought having a field manager and an office manager was the way to go, and that just didn't work out. It made no sense trying to keep him busy with dog walks when he's trying to, you know, take care of somebody. You know, I mean, we have all kinds of, you know, I need a car jump started, I locked myself out, the key broke, you know, just all kinds of stuff that can happen in a 20-mile radius that we need somebody available to help with. So we've kind of just figured out the holes and what needed to help, you know, what needed to happen. So right now, I mean, I'm pretty much full-time overseeing the business. I do whatever needs to happen. My full-time manager does whatever needs to happen, but she manages the office and makes sure the field staff are all good to go. And then I have to keep her sane. So we have a couple of swing people, our after-hours coordinators, that take over like at 6 o'clock, because God knows something can happen between 6 and 10. So they're the on-call person in case somebody's plane doesn't land, somebody gets stuck at the airport, somebody locks out. I mean, anything can happen. So they take the burden off of her a little bit. So we're all able to take a weekend and, you know, recharge, because otherwise this is a huge burnout industry. I mean, I'll get calls from solo dog walkers like, I'm quitting, take all of my clients. You know, I don't want to do it anymore. I'm so burned out. And that was a big deal to just find ways to mitigate that, because it can totally burn you out. I mean, 6 a.m. to 10 p.m. all day, all night. No, you know, you can't sustain 5 years of that. Or if you do, you're going to be just throwing it away. So, yeah.
So other than picking up slack from, you know, your full-time manager when, you know, she can't, you know, when there's something that she needs help with, what do you find yourself doing in the business these days?
Well, I mean, I do love marketing. So mostly, you know, I'm keeping the website up. I'm doing the marketing, networking, you know, networking with other pet businesses, because I think that's important, having that referral network, because home care is not for every dog and cat. And there's definitely occasions where I need to reach out to my colleagues. So a lot of networking, you know, and just, I mean, last year, the new software upgrade was a huge endeavor. I mean, that sucked months out of my life, but I love it. I love it. I can tell you at any time where anybody is and how long they were there, and I have GPS coordinates, and it's fun. It's just.
How have you settled on which technology to use?
That was tough. We went through. We started with a very basic program, and I could tell after about 5 people that wasn't going to work for a large team. So we started searching, and we actually tried to develop our own, and that's a whole nother business going on there, And we did that, and we tried, and I mean, we literally were, ready to invest in practically a second company to try to get the software the way we wanted it, because I was real picky. And then we found a partner that had just kind of done some major upgrades and was willing to work with us a little bit. And we got the customizations we needed. And I mean, we're a beta tester for them. They'll throw new features at us, and we're like, yes, no, this works. Maybe this, we're really
How did you find
integrated
them?
with them. It's another pet sitting. I mean, it's a wife whose husband was a programmer, and she had a pet sitting company.
So they created it for their company.
Almost every pet sitting software was created for one company, and that's the weird part. It's an emerging industry, so there was nothing there. So somebody created something, and somebody created another something, and somebody created this something. And I mean, I could tell you that's just how it happens in the pet sitting industry. So it's not accounting software. It's weird. I mean, our software has GPS tracking and time tracking of all these individual people. All of our people have iPads, and they're out there. They got all their care instructions. It's security, so we make sure nobody can get to pet care instructions. And then we have our clients get all their daily updates. I mean, that's another challenge is everybody's, I want it now. I want it now. We used to write handwritten notes and leave a notebook, and now it's like, but I want to know what my dog did 5 minutes ago. And so we knew that was coming. So we've got that now where, emails out and there's pictures of their pet and what went down. So they'll get it at work, and they're like, okay, my dog went potty. I'm good. I can get home at 6. I'm happy.
It seems like a lot of technology.
A lot of technology.
Is that a gradual process getting to that stage, or was it like, we know we need to invest in this technology, we're just going to do it and train everybody in it?
It was a gradual process. I mean, from a budgeting standpoint to get everybody devices, it was basic system. We did some interim stuff with some applications that we had found. I mean, just even getting the staff used to being tracked was kind of a challenge, because you come from, well, I'm trusting you to do this. We're a 3-woman shop to there's 20 of us. It's not that I don't trust you to do it. I think I've done a really good job hiring very trustworthy people, but I want to know.
I need to know where everybody is.
I need to know where everybody is. I need to know how long they're there. I need to know the client's requests are getting done, and the clients can comment back. And I mean, there's a good conversation there between clients and staff, so that's nice. But it needed to happen. There needed to be more technology, and it's kind of complex. It's like accounting with scheduling, with notes. I mean, it's not.
Yeah, that's
As a former developer in written code in a corporate environment, ooh boy.
I mean, that was like
exactly what you.
Yeah, it's like I knew what I wanted, and I was working with a developer, and he was like, "That'll be easy," and then it was like a year later. This isn't working, and how are we going to do this? And now you want what, because then it turned into, I want the whole route tracked, oh my God, how are we going to get that? I mean, I was a dork. Like I always wanted to model after the garbage truck companies that have like their map and all their trucks are on satellite and they see everybody moving and everything's getting done. Like, I was like, I want a wall like that. I want to know what's going on.
You know what the developer did when you told them that?
Yeah.
A lot of bad words.
Yeah.
Tony just put his head on the desk here.
Yeah. Just need a nap, And we're not a multi-million-dollar company, we're a small business. So to try to get that technology here was a challenge over the last 5 years to find, because I mean, we have mobile devices now, but 5 years ago there was not, it wasn't like, oh yeah, just whip out your iPad and we'll track through that. I mean, that wasn't an option. So
yeah, that's the thing that impresses me most, I think, from this whole story is getting that, infrastructure in place. And that's something that people can be in business for 20 years and never do.
They never do.
Yeah.
And we're always improving. I mean, there's always what's the next idea? Okay, how can we make this even better for our clients? So, and.
So what's next? What's next for Flufins?
Oh, next for
initiative?
Flufins. Well, we're pretty happy with the software right now. So as long as that doesn't explode, we're good. Now it's just, I think more education for our staff is really our next endeavor. Is we're completely revamping our Flufin University program, which is our onboarding program, and we're trying to dive in to find more continuing education. I mean, it sounds a little cheesy. You're a dog walker, you need continuing education. But if you want to pet sit for a parrot, you need to know something about a bird, right?
Yes, you do.
Because you don't want to just walk into some, macaw's house and think that's going to be easy. So just trying to, get their interest and keep them, interested in the animal field. Because there's so much you can do with it. I mean, even if I have a dog walker or a pet sitter for 16 months, they might go on in the animal world. I think that'd be awesome. So
Are there any I know it's a weird question, of course, alligators, things like that, those are but are there any pets that you just know?
No. Anything illegal in the state of Illinois. Skunks are illegal.
Okay. They are?
They are. You need a permit.
Oh wow.
I believe. I think that's the current status right now. I mean, nothing. I'm not going to take a tiger, peacocks. I've never had that call. I mean, we do have some macaw clients. I mean, those are large birds.
Oh, yeah. Any cockatoos?
Cockatoos, yep. Talking African grays,
Just shaking his head. Who is this guy?
He knows all these animals, right?
I think you need to start a dog walking business in South Carolina, man.
Oh, no.
Doing good, yeah.
So before I let you go, Flufins University, what the hell is that? Tell me about that.
We've got it right now. It's an online coursework for our new employees. So like I said, it's bizarre because you're hiring somebody with no work for them. So that's kind of what we give them the first month they're there as we're developing their clientele is, okay, guys, you're going to train on how to care for a dog properly, walk a dog properly, use the right equipment, cat care, bird care, small and furry care, reptile, fish, amphibian, koi pond, rabbits. We're going to teach you the basics of all of that. And I mean, a lot of the people we find are familiar with some animals or a lot of animals, but we want to make sure that they're fairly well-rounded. So,
and you've got enough content in there to keep them busy for a month? And how the hell did you create that much content?
We're still redeveloping. It's a work in progress.
The look on Kevin's
I'm
face
just
is
blown
hilarious.
away here. Yeah, that's
it's like, what do I really need to know about a rabbit? I'm like, let me tell you, they kick when you pick them up, and you got to know that.
That's not what blows me away. Not that there's enough content that could be created. It's just you went and put together a coursework for all of your employees that could keep them busy for a month.
I mean, it's about 24 hours of coursework.
And what does that look like? Is that written videos?
Right now it's more written. That's what we're doing is we're going to be incorporating a lot more video. So, videos of, I mean, from a risk, I mean, there is a risk. I mean, there's aggressive, dogs that are aggressive. You come in the wrong door. If you read the instructions wrong, you come in the front door, you might not be in as good a condition coming in the back door. So it's very important that they have a lot of behavior knowledge, especially with dogs and cats. I mean, I had one of my first sitters, and this is when we added the field interview to the spectrum because I love dogs, and I love this girl. She's the most amazing cat whisperer ever. But she called me, Kristin, I can't get out of Hank's house. And I said, where are you? She's like, I can't get out of the house. This dog had her cornered in the house because he could just smell the fear on her. And she wasn't used to, it was a husky dog with those deep eyes, and she just was a little intimidated by him, and he read that right away and had her cornered. I had to drive over. I was like, get over here, I mean, I'm very comfortable with dogs. So I had him on leash. I was like, okay, what, are you kidding me? And she just was like, I didn't, he was kind of lifting a tooth at me. I didn't know what to do. I was like, okay, you need to calm down. And I had to coach her through a lot of larger breed dogs to get her comfortable. Sure. Which, again, people think, oh, a teenager could do this. It's just dog walking, but not with certain dogs.
Speaking of aggressive, do you have any pits?
Oh yeah.
Do you?
A lot of them. A lot of them are wonderful.
They're awesome.
They're some of my best walkers.
I love my pits. I like animals. Leave me alone.
We're absolutely not breed exclusive. We take them all as individuals and evaluate them separately. So we're not no pits, that's not it. It's every animal is different. So, I mean, my bite was an Akita, And, some people say,
Really?
oh, you don't take Akitas, do you take Akitas anymore? I'm like, yeah, I have great Akitas, but.
You know what Akita is?
No.
Wow,
No.
what a dog.
I don't know.
I mean, just a big old, beautiful,
yeah.
majestic
Yeah.
Japanese.
I think so, yes. If I'm not losing my mind.
Yeah.
Really cool dog.
And there's some real power.
Do they call the
there's
female
powerful
Akitas Femme Akitas? Thank you. Like, the movie Femme Nikita. But all right, we've gone over time. I'm going to let you go soon, but I just need to know more about this Flufins University. So 5 years ago,
Okay.
you were just a marketer who owned dogs.
Yes.
And now you've essentially written a book on how to care for all sorts of different animals.
Basic animal care for everything home care, yes.
So how did you go about learning all that? Did you take courses or?
Yeah, a lot of courses, a lot of reading, working with, there's, bunny specific shelters that have, helped certain clients, certain staff that had certain expertises that could really help out. It's just a matter of networking with the right people and figuring out, what would you need to know if you walked into a rabbit's house? If you don't own rabbits, it's not cakewalk, They're very different than a dog. And, we'd get a lot of people that were, oh, I love cats. And then we'd be like, well, we need you to pet sit for a dog. Oh, I don't know enough about dogs. Okay, well, you're going to need some basic coursework. So we pulled together enough information that they can, do their job. And then the goal is that they find something they want to continue on with and maybe become our parrot expert or our, small and furry expert.
And do you then periodically test them on this during that first month? So,
yeah, the program, has a quiz, and then we're revamping it all this year. So we're going to make everybody retake it. And then I'm also an LTP for the Red Cross for pet first aid and CPR. So we do cat and dog CPR every quarter. We try to get them in for an annual refresher. I know.
I'm blown away,
I
Kristin.
know.
It's funny, every time we do one of these podcasts, it's usually someone that I'm friends with or I've known professionally, and we've sat and had beers or conversations, and I learned so much more.
Had a clue, huh?
Yeah, I'm so
Wow.
impressed by what you've accomplished and what you've done, and congratulations.
You got a great story.
It's still a work in progress. There's still stuff I struggle with that I got to get this done and we need to redo this. And we practically rewrote our employee manual 5 years in because you have 5 years experience under your belt now.
Mm-hmm.
Now I know what needs to go in there and what we need to really hit home during new employee orientation. So, and a lot of it is for us, it's the people. We're a service-based business. I've got to have the right team in place or that's where you explode. So
yeah, gotta have the right people in the right seats on the bus. We've talked about that before.
Right people in the right seats on the bus, definitely. So
well, if someone needs some pet sitting, how can they reach Flufins?
Oh, Flufins. Just Google Floofin, and I'm the only thing that will pop up. Floofinsco.com, and everything you need's there. So
okay. Well, thank you so much for your time. I'm blown away. This is the first episode that we've ever done where it's just tell us your story.
Just okay.
And it was a good one. So
Kristen, thank you very much.
I have no specific expertise.
This was awesome.
And if you want, you can stick around and talk about dogs and fish with Tony.
Well, there you go.
Hater.